The Pacific Ocean covers 1/3 of the entire planet. At its widest point, it spans over 20,000 kilometers, and 3,000 years ago, a group of people decided to cross it with nothing but wooden canoes, the stars, and knowledge passed down through generations. These were the Polynesians, and what they accomplished is considered by many historians to be the greatest feat of navigation in the ancient world. Starting from islands in Southeast Asia thousands of years ago, Polynesian sailors spread outward across the Pacific, finding and settling every habitable island in the ocean, one by one. They reached Easter Island, 3,700 kilometers from the nearest inhabited land. They reached Hawaii, the most isolated archipelago on the planet. They reached New Zealand. They reached the Cook Islands, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji. No other civilization in human history colonized such a vast area of the Earth's surface, and they did it entirely without written maps or magnetic compasses, using only the stars, ocean currents, wave patterns, and the flight paths of birds. But in 2020, something unexpected happened. A team of geneticists published a paper that forced historians to ask a question nobody had seriously considered before. Hidden inside the DNA of ancient Polynesian populations, specifically the people of Easter Island, was a genetic signal, a set of markers that did not come from Southeast Asia. That did not come from any island in the Pacific. It came from South America, specifically from the Zenú people, an indigenous population from what is now Colombia. And the genetic data showed the contact happened around 1200 CE, more than 2.5 centuries before Columbus ever left Spain. Every history textbook says the same thing. Columbus discovered the Americas in 1492. Europeans were the first outsiders to make contact with the indigenous peoples of the New World. The DNA says otherwise. The evidence, it turns out, was always there. Scientists and archaeologists had noticed puzzling anomalies for decades. They just didn't know what to make of them. The first anomaly is the sweet potato. The sweet potato is native to South America. It originated in Peru and Bolivia, and was a staple crop of indigenous South American civilizations for thousands of years. And yet, when European explorers first arrived in Polynesia in the 16th and 17th centuries, they found sweet potatoes growing on nearly every island. In Hawaii, in New Zealand, in Tonga, in the Cook Islands, in Easter Island. Carbon dating of charred sweet potato remains found in the Cook Islands placed them at approximately 1000 CE, 500 years before any European ship reached the Pacific. The botanical DNA confirmed it. The sweet potato varieties found across Polynesia were genetically identical to specific Peruvian cultivars. This was not a coincidence. This was not independent evolution. Someone brought the plant from South America to Polynesia, and here is where it gets even more compelling. In South America, the indigenous Quechua word for sweet potato is kumara. In Polynesia, across dozens of isolated island groups that had no contact with each other or with South America through European channels, the word for sweet potato is also kumara. The same word, separated by 7,000 kilometers of open ocean. The only explanation is direct linguistic contact, which means a physical meeting between Polynesian and South American people at some point in pre-colonial history. But the botanical and linguistic evidence could always be argued away. Perhaps birds carried seeds, perhaps the word was coincidence. Then the genome study arrived, and those arguments collapsed. In 2020, a landmark study published in the journal Nature analyzed the genomes of 807 individuals from 17 Polynesian island groups and 15 Native American populations. The sample size was enormous. The methodology was rigorous. The result was unambiguous. A distinct Native American genetic component was identified in Polynesian populations, strongest in Easter Island, and traceable to a single contact event with ancestors of the Zenú people of Colombia. The statistical modeling placed that contact at approximately 1200 CE, 292 years before Columbus set sail. In 2026, a follow-up analysis refined the model further, narrowing the contact window and confirming that the Polynesian navigators did not just reach South America once. The genetic evidence suggests they integrated with local populations and some returned home. They sailed there and they came back. The route they would have taken is not actually as impossible as it sounds. The Humboldt Current flows northward along the coast of South America before turning westward into the Pacific, essentially a natural highway from Peru toward the Marquesas Islands. Polynesian navigators read the ocean the way modern pilots read instruments. They tracked star paths, memorized swell patterns from different directions, watched the flight of shore-sighting birds, and detected the chemical changes in water color that indicate land proximity. Some islands developed physical navigation tools, stick charts made of reeds and shells that encoded wave and current patterns around island groups. These were not decorative objects. They were functional navigational instruments used by master navigators who had memorized the ocean. In 1976, a team built a replica traditional Polynesian double-hulled canoe called Hokule'a and sailed it from Hawaii to Tahiti using only traditional navigation methods. No compass, no GPS, no modern instruments. They arrived precisely on target, 2,700 miles across open ocean, navigated entirely by stars and ocean currents. The journey proved that ancient Polynesian navigation was not legend, it was science. The Pacific Ocean was not a barrier to the ancient Polynesians, it was a road they understood better than any civilization before or since. What remains unknown is the full nature of the exchange. The genetic evidence proves contact. The sweet potato proves the transfer of agricultural knowledge. The linguistic overlap proves communication. But what did South American people gain from Polynesian visitors? Researchers are still looking. There are anomalies in coastal South American cultures, architectural techniques, fishing methods, specific tool types that some archaeologists believe show Polynesian influence. None of it has been definitively proven yet, but the genetic study has opened doors that were previously considered closed. Ancient DNA technology has transformed archaeology in the last decade. What was once unknowable, who met whom, when, where, and what they exchanged, is now readable in the genome. And what the genome is telling us about pre-Columbian history is only just beginning to emerge. Columbus was not the first outsider to reach the Americas. The Norse reached North America at Lance, Oggs Meadows, around 1000 CE. And now the genome data confirms Polynesians reached South America around 1200 CE. Columbus was not first. He was simply the last and the one whose arrival had permanent consequences. The greatest navigators in human history crossed the greatest ocean on Earth, reached a continent on the other side, made contact with its people, exchanged plants and genes and words, and returned home. And they did all of this while Europe was still in the medieval period. Centuries before a single European had any idea the Pacific Ocean existed, the ocean did not stop them. Nothing did.